Evening. Hi, Liam here. I promised I would do this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to read a story that I wrote when I was, I think, 12, class 202, so I think that means I was 12. It's called Dead Alive. It's probably going to be some pretty top tier cringe. But anyway, we'll start with the blurb at the back. The nightmare begins in the scariest story ever told. Zombies invade the planet, and they won't stop killing until they get hell back, trapped in a certain stolen item. Better than Lord of the Rings, says Jonathan Ross. Can't wait for the sequel, ! says Graham Norton. Don't read it alone, says Trevor MacDonald. Gave me daily nightmares, Mrs. Morrow. Scarier than Candyman, why Maw? Action-packed, edge of your chair, scary as heck book, T. Dactyl. It's scary, Daddy, V. McDonald. Oh no. Right. Let's go. I'll tell you now a story which I'll never forget, about the time the dead walked and the apocalypse began and ended in the same hour. I was the hero, I was the savior, I was the deliverer. It all began sometime a few years ago, the Day of the Dead, the dawn of the damned, the dusk of the deceased. I walked forward, bat in hand, ready to attack anything that was a threat to me, as the scariest night I was hoping I would ever face was about to begin. The graveyard at the top of the hill has always been the scariest place in Scotland. Am I the only one nervous here? Said Jack in a shaky voice. The wimp speaks, the tag-along moans, the mouse squeaks. Now stop being a little pussycat and prove you're a man, mouse, I yelled at the geekiest geek in the whole town. Why are we stuck with you? Go do maths at home and get a bedtime story, wimp. I hate you, you're so cruel, shouted Jack as his eyes began to flood. We just ignored his wimp behaviour as the gate to fear came into sight. After another 5 minutes of silence and tension, we had arrived. Ladies first. Go first, Jack, I said casually, and to my great surprise, he went first. Not surprised about him taking my tormenting, but about him going into the graveyard. Alone. Come on, guys, if he can do it, so can we, I said to my little team. Before I knew it, we were in. The worst move I ever made was about to be completed. We strolled through the aisles of graves. I didn't want to mention it, but I wanted out of there right then until I spotted the one item that was to bring so much pain to earth. A lamp. An old, dusty, bronze lamp with Greek writing on a silver ring around the top of the lamp. Jack obviously saw it first as he ran to take it. Put that back. That's a sin. That's a sin. Brackets. It might not be, but so what? Close brackets. Hey, we could make tenors with this. I'm sure the nice dead people won't mind. This geek was changing too fast. Oh well, I wasn't going to let him be braver than me. We left the graveyard with something we thought was much more than the apocalypse. I carried the lamp in my jacket pocket as my house came slowly into view. Oh well, it was okay. See you later, Liam, said James. Yep, till tomorrow. I stopped. I heard a moan come from the big bush in my garden. The type I heard from the zombie movies. Slow, painful, scary. I heard it again. This was too much for me to take in. I ran over to the bush to show everyone who's boss. I moved the branches away and squeezed into the hide-and-seek spot. My God, I wish I'd let Jack do it at that moment. There stood an old man. topless, wearing jeans and no footwear. He had eyes with no iris or pupil. They both looked glass. His skin was a strange wood colour, like the type in school tables. And his chest was cut from top to bottom in a diagonal line, like have a cross, as thick as a bamboo stick. His mouth wouldn't close. I froze in fear. The creature staggered towards me, arms right out, closing in, fast. He grabbed me. I couldn't move. He leaned forward, trying to bite me. His breath was against my neck. This was it. The end. His jaws clamped round my neck. He loosened his grip and I took my chance. I slid onto the ground and I flipped him out of the bush. He crawled towards James. I ran out of the bush and I kicked his face and he fell backwards. To be continued, motherfuckers.